Stephen Mooney's biography. Stephen Mooney is a poet in residence and lecturer in contemporary literature and creative writing at the University of Surrey. Mr. Cheek, be quiet.
Well, listen to you.
He also lectures at Birkbeck College, University of London, where he is part of the organising committee of the Contemporary Poetics Research Centre, CPRC. He is a poet, part of the performance poetry grouping London Under Construction. I think I saw a lot of that, actually. And one of the editors of the small poetry press Veer Books. He is the co-editor of the Readings Web Journal and co-assistant editor of the Pause Web Journal, as well as reviews editor for the Journal of British and Irish Innovative Poetry and the UK editor of Vlak magazine, which is based in Prague, the Czech Republic. His poetry has appeared in various places and web places, and he's the author of DCLP 2008 and co-author of Shudder, which came out in 2010. And has been a big influence on my work. I am extremely pleased to introduce Stephen. And I would also like to thank him for a wonderful job.
Yeah.
And you should be close.
Yes. Thank you very much, Steve. Okay. Oops. Sorry, I'm forgetting I have a mic. Right, I'm going to nip over there in a second and turn this on. So I'm going to read a few, three bits, so to speak. The first is a poem that I'm negotiating with the printer to see will it fit on the page. We're trying to hammer it onto the page at the moment because it's too wide and it's too long and blah, blah, blah. So there's a kind of constrictive sense to the action of doing this, which kind of fits with the theme. It's about a London river. That was the remit. So yes, I'll start. I just start this thing playing first. Is Reservoir River Lee or Lee? River Rib, Mimram River, New River, River Lee, New River, River Lee Navigation, River Lee Navigation, River Lee, River Lynch, River Lee Navigation, Stansted Mill Stream, Toll House Stream, River Stort, Toll House Stream, River Lee Navigation, New River, Woolens Brook, River Lynch, River Lee Navigation, Old River Lee or Lee, Cobbins Brook, Small River Lee or Lee, Turkey Brook, River Lee Navigation, River Lee or Lee, River Lee or Lee, River Lee Navigation, Dagenham Brook, River Lee or Lee, Coppermill Stream, Lee Flood Relief Channel, Dagenham Brook, River Lee or Lee, Coppermill Stream, Dagenham Brook, River Lee or Lee, River Lee, River Lee. Sunbaking and naked and on their way, and this is constricted. There's a speed limit here, you know, down by the park with its rear waters has nothing. Someday somebody's going to make you want to gobble up a waffle fry, but no go, don't you know, Chick-fil-A say you'll make the baby Jesus cry. Dudes with boobs, gay for pay, dykes say yay, so chow down at Chick-fil-A. Rotored and funneled is reservoir, River Lee or Lee, River Lee Navigation, River Lee, River Lee. Hartford Union Canal, River Lee Navigation, River Lee, River Lee, Bowback River, City Mill River, Waterworks River, River Lee or Lee, Three Mills River, Prescott Channel, Channel Sea River. So the second piece is from the book I'm working on at the moment, which is called The Cursory Epic. So it's read a little bit of section 3 and 3.5. And it's a reading through the Fighting Fantasy gamebook series, The Sorcery Epic. Right. And it became The Cursory Epic through a kind of slip of the tongue with somebody I was talking to on the phone. He misheard what I'd said, so it was a good title. Anyways, this is The Seven Serpents, so it's reading through that to a certain degree. And through part 3.5 is the Cursory Spellbook, which is like an ancillary to the text. Cursory Epic, Part 3, The Seven Serpents. The fate of the big society is in your hands. 130. The most testing, certainly uncivilized, rough interrupts acts. Acts. We actually think, this is what is in my heart. I have been struck, cancer charities desperate. We're not giving patients more control and doctors more professional freedom. It's the best way, have been locked out. 150. To attack at the creature, you it up into harmless splashes. You have 286 cack. Ministers and officials can't possibly give a little of themselves. We actually think, this is what is in my heart, people giving more money. Ideal balls with tough turn. 310. Cover your, you may if you wish, roll under your feet. Rack. If a local service you rely on, it's the big society way. No family will be getting more. Turn down into showrooms for our cars. 153. Point you is definitely size at a remarkable what or who. Rip. But there's something else. We are applying it so enthusiastically, engines of opportunity is back open for business, practice class war, to avoid it. 86. Point you is definitely size at a remarkable what or who. Lie. We're not introducing free schools and expanding academies because it's a way of saving money. The right to take over where children learn to become responsible people. To avoid it. 423. A murky of residence is a spindly creature, make out your weapon and attack. 271. You nothing certain you'll bring it down heavily, now run away about your attacker. 119. Do you have any? You must cut. It's because our public services, I know real people I want to endure as about as gritty and important as it gets. More choice for, more freedom for, a greater ability for, new providers to come for sexualization and commercialization of childhood, and I'm hoping for some tough tested to destruction. Now action. 282. Having rid yourself is thick and heavy. Axe. Now I know I use that word a lot, like a burden on people. Wrong. Around to avoid it. 234. Joins your stop, you on your rip. The big society is not some fluffy add-on. People to step forward and play their part. Turn them into showrooms for our cars. To catch your cack. Well, this is a pushy government. This is a pushy government. There is absolutely nothing we cannot do. That means an hour of reckoning for paid people who have no intention of getting a job to stay at home while living off the taxpayer. Well, Theresa May, a great Home Secretary, has done it. Michael Gove and I are not waiting for an outbreak of sanity. Matched to anything onwards. 76. With your hand on your weapon is shriveling as if, sir. This is not a cuts agenda, just responsible for those. In other words, it's about the things you don't do. Hard work, strong families, taking responsibility, serving others, stood on the threshold of power. Yes, of course I can. 282. Having rid yourself is thick and heavy rod. The answer is yes. All we care about is balancing the books. Around to avoid it. 223. Rat. Come and play a role in our public services. Wherever possible, put power and money. Is upon most shortly rip. Third, we're going to drive a real culture change in our society by making practice class war, leaving people to fend for themselves. Because we're the same old Tories who want to help the rich, sink or swim, do or decline, and we will always remain one. For signs of life, any more. And when it comes to law and order, we're not so determined to modernize them. The answer is yes. Nowhere is this more evident than in our welfare reforms. We are social, tested to destruction. Too many people think that's the limit. there. Now I'll read a bit from DCLP. Now I was asked to read this at a conference in Germany last month, so I put some things on, should we say, some of the photographs that went along with the project that people haven't really seen before. Now it does flash a lot. There's a lot of flashing. So if you're medically affected by flashing lights, then maybe look away for this. I can't vouch for the damage the images themselves might do to you. That's another thing. So it's based basically on mapping the cottaging routes, or two of the cottaging routes in London, onto the tube lines, the District line and the Central line. So it's not by any means Seamus Healy's District and Circle line. It's an anti-Seamus Healy's District and Circle line. Anyway, so I'll start reading. Getting hot. Hop, skip and ho ho ho, it's Balfour Road. Recapitulate, wander, boy. With cant then you reach an extremity that is already nascent in Descartes. The modern subject is a placeless subject. This subject, living only in the flattened out sites it itself projects or constructs, cannot count on any abiding place in the world. Casey, smooth edges and rough-edged places, the hidden history of place. Stimulate a regrouping at Heron Mews. Two-step, one-step, nothing to see here, possibly error, plain and simple, a Cartesian world play. By all accounts moving, getting hot, retracery, stepping from the front, entrance of Ilford BR station, you envisage a metroscopic Ilford of form lines and feature separation. The Ilford BR station overprint conceals the structural hackture of terrain beneath it. You opt for trilateration as a decryption mode, given the difficulties associated with aerotriangulation in built-up urban areas. The results are inconclusive with regard to the pre-established landmarks, but sufficient to facilitate the control mapping that will be required. Transit aligned, and without an altimeter, idiot, you curse your haste to get this journey underway. You begin the levelling process. Take account of the declination, the applicable depth curve adjustments. Before long, you have reduced the Ilford BR quadrangle to an operational Your photogrammetry skills were never the best. The neat line is always a problem. But assuming a standard adjustment accuracy, you persevere, and a working retinue of particles and mediums eventually emerging, putting accuracy possibly to within one chain of measure. Now, with this conceptualization to hand, and the pre-established landmarks implicated, if not identified, you must choose which way to go. If you wish to turn right, turn to 55-3F. If you wish to take a left turning, beginning it by configuring. Getting hot, and Church Road, opposite Sainsbury's, indeed investigatory principle, quick step to the end cubicle, and self-interest take. Getting hot. Fixation, visually, referentially, my boy. In its stiffening, attention, receiving usage, fussle, in here, eye rapture. Road mark, tight, view, act to act line, up against, wrap around, proscopia. Say Lovell saved the day now. Movement here. Side or face in about brick walls, just gardens, as and dells, save the day now, tile from public, way, structure, women gate, non-committal. Third elevation. Substructure, nothing less, getting hot. A possibly fourth cubicle monstrosity, loitering, luckily Ilford monstrosity. Instruction, cartographic unit of movement, blow Ilford up. In the right, in the steps, in the right, in the steps of a righteous man, side street map, town hall, close to the public car park, London Borough of Redbridge, quiet elimination, hot, getting hot, in and... And finally, actually I said three, this is actually part of the same.
Can we make requests?
Potentially.
Sorry, out of Read a bit of Henry Bergson and play.
Oh,